Chapter 1. The Quiet Shift. My name is Rachel Delaney, and I've been a registered nurse for nearly 12 years. Most of that time has been spent at St. Augustine Memorial Hospital, a modest facility nestled in the forests of upstate New York. It's the kind of hospital where people know your name and your favorite coffee order. I worked the night shift, by choice. There's a peculiar peace that settles over the halls after midnight, the fluorescent lights buzzing like sleepy bees, and the echo of footfalls becoming a rhythm you can almost breathe with. It was during one of those shifts that everything began to unravel. A patient came in around 2:37 a.m., no ID, no emergency contact, and no apparent injuries. The EMTs said they found him collapsed outside of town near Hollow Ridge, a place we locals avoided after sunset. The man, mid-40s, pale, gaunt, had no pulse, but wasn't cold. He was alive, and yet something about him was unsettling. As we worked to stabilize him, his eyes snapped open. Black, not the deep brown kind. Truly black, like ink poured into snow. He didn't speak, didn't move, just stared at me like he recognized me. I should have reported it, but something told me not to. Chapter 2. The Missing Files. The next morning, I went to log the patient's information, but the file wasn't there. No digital record, no paper trail. Even the EMT report was missing. I asked around. No one else seemed to remember him clearly. A couple of staff vaguely recalled someone coming in, but couldn't describe him. It was like he'd been erased. I tried to check the security tapes. Corrupted. Static overload, the tech said. But I saw the footage before it went blank. For exactly 5 seconds, there was a frame, just one, of the man sitting up in the ER bed, looking straight at the camera. And behind him, barely visible, was the outline of a woman who looked exactly like me. Chapter 3. Shadows of the Past. I started dreaming about her. She wore a 1940s nurse uniform, stark white with a red cross at the collar. Her hair was curled and pinned, and her eyes, black as coal, were always fixed on me. In the dreams, I wasn't Rachel. I was someone else. Same face, same voice, but different memories. A war hospital, screams in the night, and something underground, something they tried to bury. When I started researching St. Augustine's history, the rabbit hole opened. During World War II, it served as a military hospital. There were rumors of experimental treatments in the lower wings, long since sealed off. Some claim soldiers who went in never came out. I had to see for myself. Chapter 4. Below the Wards. I bribed a janitor, Jake, to get access to the basement levels. He gave me a key, rolled his eyes and said, "If you hear humming, don't follow it." The halls below were colder, filled with rust and rot. Old surgical tools lay in dusty trays. I found patient files dated 1944. One caught my eye. Delaney, Margaret. My last name. She looked exactly like me, born 1919. Assigned as a nurse in the psychiatric wing. Notes indicated behavioral instability, frequent nightmares, visions. Final entry. Subject transferred to Ward 10 for containment. There was no Ward 10 on any map. Chapter 5. Humming in the Dark. That night I heard it. A low hum. It began in my apartment just past midnight. My lights flickered. The temperature dropped. When I looked in the mirror, I saw not just myself, but Margaret, behind me, whispering words I couldn't understand. I started recording everything. Dreams, encounters, clues. A pattern emerged. Every 79 years, a Delaney returned to the hospital. Every time, something was triggered. The black-eyed man, the corrupted footage, the humming. All part of a cycle. A haunting, a possession, I wasn't sure. But I was the next in line. Chapter 6. The Ward That Never Was. With help from Jake, I found the entrance. Behind the old morgue freezer, there was a hatch sealed with weld marks and warning signs. Authorized personnel only. Jake was pale but nodded. "You're not the first to ask about this," he muttered, "but you might be the last." Inside Ward 10, the walls were padded but torn. On each door, etched into the metal, were names of nurses, and one cell remained locked. Inside was Margaret, or what was left of her, Not a body, a presence. She stood, eyes black, staring at me. And then I was her. For a moment, I remembered everything: her fears, the rituals, the entity she tried to contain, the price she paid. Chapter 7: The Entity. The man with black eyes was never human. He was a conduit, something ancient, something that needed a Delaney to anchor it in this world. Margaret bound it using her own soul, trapping herself in Ward 10, but the cycle needed renewal. Me. He came for me in the ER. I confronted him, told him I knew. He didn't speak, just tilted his head, and then vanished as if erased. But now the humming followed me everywhere. Chapter 8: Truth and Sacrifice. I had two choices: leave, pretend none of it happened, or finish what Margaret started. Using her journals, I prepared a ritual, a sealing rite. It required a sacrifice, not death, memory, identity. I'd forget who I was, Rachel Delaney would cease to be. But the entity would sleep again. On the night of the blood moon, I descended into Ward 10, lit candles, spoke her words. And as the entity screamed, my memories burned away like paper. Epilogue: The new nurse. There's a new nurse on the night shift. Her name tag says Delaney. Her smile is kind, her eyes are warm. But sometimes, in the reflective glass of the medicine cabinet, her expression shifts, just for a moment, and the hum begins again.